Kufyud. That's where we stopped yesterday. He says like this: "V'ha'inyan hu kimavur etzleinu, ki shlosha mochim yesh bizman hakata v'ha'iver shlosh mochim." I don't know why it didn't ring. I just can't believe it. Yesh bizman hakatas v'ha'iver v'heim sod shlosha shemus alokem. So what is this mochin hakatnas? Zman hakatnas shuchul zman iver v'yanika of shalzer anpin. V'adai sheyesh lo gam kem shlosha mochim chokma bin das. El sheshemus hamochim bizman hakatnas. Bein bisman ha'ivor, whether we're talking about gestation, ivor of a bein bisman ha'yanika, heim shemus elokim, v'nimsa sheyesh lo oz, shlosha shemus elokim, the shlosha mochim. So then you see there are three mochim, but they're elokims. Down at the bottom he says like this in number Tes Zion, Tes Vav. Ki shlosha mochim yesh bisman ha'katan v'ha'ivor v'heim sod shlosha shemus elokim. So he says, Sarach li'ian, Shaar Be'etz Chaim, he says, Shaar Ha'ivurim, Perek Hey, he says, Issa shebe'iver ein leza mochim shlemim, shel shem elokem, ela osios ilain, levado. The last two letters, those last two letters we're missing two letters here, shel shem elokem. So I think I can remember maybe seeing that. Let's go on. Back up to the top on Kuf Yod Aleph, he says on the Bishon, Na'achazim Mekali Mitzrayim Paro Shuhu Ne'achaz Bebechinis Ha'orev Sheba'ach Re'adas. Yenika the Klipas Mitzrayim, V'yenika Paro Hu Min Ha'orev Dezer Anpin Shaha'orev Ku Ma'ach Re'av Moach Hadas. That's on the back of where the location of the Moach Hadas would be. V'shemo Shal Paros, Paro, which is, remember, is also the word oref, and there must be a nigach azosha shem paro hu ozius ha'oref. Lohoros al yinikasach bin ha'oref dezer anpin shuhu achrei moach hadas. V'shlosha sari paro. So let's say the three, this a little Indian here. Sari paro arts ha'heim, sar ha'mashkim, sar ha'ofim, and sar ha'tavochim. Shehem besod shlosha elokim haniskarim k'mavor v'tzleinu b'drashim b'fnei atzmo v'ayin sham heitev v'yinikasim hu b'sham v'shlosha elokim sheva shlosh ha'mochin elo de'ivor. Kevin sheyinikas paro mitzrayim hu me'hamochim de'ivor shebechem yesh shlosha shemus elokim. V'chein koyu the paro shlosha sarim shehem sar hamashkim sar ha'ofo sar ha'ofim. 1 second. Okay, that's okay. Sar ha'ofim b'sar ha'tavochim shehem yanku b'shlosha shemus elokim. Go on. B'zecha b'sivas hiyusam nikra Elohim acherim. Why are they calling that acherim? Let's see what it means. Ki acherim hu b'gematria k'minyan garom. Same the gematria as garom. So they're Elokims of the garom. So he said b'shehem b'gematria b'shlosha shemus Elokim and his karim of mispashtim b'garom. So for some he says atam shahaklipos nekrayim Elokim. So you told me I had to pronounce it Elohim acherim. Hu kevin shahaklipos yonkim b'shlosha shemus Elokim. So here he makes it certain that I pronounce it Elokim. So Shlosha Kememus Shemus Elokim Mispashtin Begarim. The Tevas Garam Atzmo Oiler Kabinyan Shlosha Shemus Elokim. The Lechein Makali Nekrayim Elohim Acherim. Shehu Gam Kem Mizbo Shlosha Shemus Elokim Kamo Tevas Garam. So he went to Garon. I was going to say Acherim was laments like in the back. That's what I was going to say, but he didn't say that. So now they start spreading. They go into many different madrigas. So now Shmarim comes out at the end of the place where they spread to. I guess it means the outer wall. Then I'm thinking of the neck. Then asim acherim kaminyan garam. So then it becomes acherim like the word kaminyan garam. Shesham Rashis Yanikosim, this is the first place that the other side is able to draw sustenance. Shesham who Meitzah Elyon, because this is a place where everything gets narrowed over here. Elyon Asher Sham Achizis Mitzrayim Kamavur Etzleinu. So he's trying to understand this. Okay, so the basic premise here is that the sod, the secret is what's really going on. When you look at the outside of things, it may be a little bit difficult to see them. So let's see what we have here. He says, Achizit Mitzrayim Kavuvor Etzleinu, Bekemen Sheshemus Elokim the Gedusha Mitzpashtim Bedregus Rabbos. So they actually, what? He says these names spread into many different layers. So that you get down to the bottom ultimately, there you find the dregs. So they become the aspect, he says, what? He said the shmarim, they are the acherim, the others, I think, maybe that's what he means, which also comes to the dominion of garon. He said, of a Malcolm Agarim, now you go to this place, Shehu Nikra Meitzer Ha'elya, the upper tightening or narrowing, Al Shem Shehu Makom Tsar, it's a narrow place, Medekis B'techilas Yanikas Akali B'makom Azecha Ne'achazim Mitzrayim, and that's the place where Mitzrayim is able to grab hold. Ba'amnam shir hispashtos shem Elokim. So now we're talking like this: the amount of the hispashtos of the name Elokim, hu ad shir meya ve'esrim tzirufi sheyesh bo kanoida. You could make 120 different combinations of the name Elokim, and that's 5-letter word. He called tevis chamesh osis bona meya ve'esrim batim. This according to the Sefer Yetzirah. Issa b'Sefer Yetzirah, he says, Shaha Osius Nekrayim Avonim V'Chatevos Nekrayim Batim. So there's the idea, the basic idea that Shaharech An Yidei Kama Osius Yachad, and put different letter combinations together. Na'asa Teva Achas, you make one word. Now let me see if I Shaharech An Yidei Kama Osius Yachad, you put the words together, they could make one word. V'Hinech B'Shtei Osius Yicholin L'Tzaruf Shtei Batim. You could make with 2 letters, you could make 2 combinations. Could go mishtei osius, let's say lo. Yesh tzirufi kazeh, kale na, so it could be either kale or aleph lamed or lamed aleph. Mishlosha osius yecholin l'tzav shisha bat. It could go shem shakai. Yesh bacha b'shisha tzirufin. There are 6 different types of ways. It's really 3 times 2. So shakai shaya. So here they are right here. I'm not going to read them all down. The cheshbon shisha who so the cheshbon shisha, the 6th cheshbon shemakaflim as hashnei tzirufim agadon kafel shlosha hare heim shisha. So I'm not sure what he said that there, but that's how you get it. Ume'arba osius na'asechem esrim v'arba mehabatim shemakaflim as shisha tzirufim hakodmim Ba'arba, so you multiply really 6 times 4. Kagon Shem Adni, for example. Yesh bo esrim ba'arba tzirufim kazeh, and then he shows it to us here. Moving on to the next column, he says, U'mechamesh osius na'asem meya ve'esrim batim, and he has a list of it down below. Shemakfilim as esrim ba'arba tzirufim kodmim, Kafel Chamesh multiplied by 5, Hare Heim Meya Ve'esrim, like that. So let's go to the 120 different combinations you can make out of this name. Mechamesh Oz is for the 5 letters. Nemsa Sheyesh Esrim V'Arbet Tzirufi Shemas Chilach Ba'oz Achas. There are 5 different, he says, there are 4 different combinations that can be made out of 1 letter. The Esrim Ba'arba Tzirufin Shemas Kilim Ba'os Cheres, and then there's another 24. I think if I read this right. So he says you could make Esrim Ba'arba. It's 24 out of 1 letter. 24 out of the next letter. Ad shemachamesh osius sheyesh bechem naazim mea ve'esrim serufim. V'chein sedach atzirufim ad ein sof. You can keep going on this by adding another letter. V'hidech b'shem elokim sheyesh bechamesh osius yesh becha b'mea ve'esrim serufim. And then we have a picture of all of them, which we have in different places. And so that's what that is. Let's go on. So how's the time working? We're still okay. So he said we're moving on. He said ve'elach b'mea ve'esrim serufim heim bebechinas madregas kedusha. They're the aspect of a different madregas, the regas of kedusha. V'hein maschilim b'zer anpin de bria. They begin with their anpin of bria. So we have to look at this a little more closely. Ad sofa asiya, until it reaches down to the bottom of the asiya kabavur b'tzleida be'it rabbah. And it gives a site reference over there. The Yasif al Kursia, the Shivivim is, I think it's a throne of coals. So he said, "V'meya ve'esrim atzarufim shel shem elokim called sirif mora al madrega acheres." So each one of them is a different madrega, meaning what? Madregas elu heim partzim ser anpin debria ad sof madregas asiya. So we're talking here what? First of all, we're talking about Elokim, which is a moach dekadness. So this, he starts out by saying that that it starts out with the Elohim me partzufi zer anpin debria, and then they spread into different levels ad sof madregas asiya until you get down to the lowest level. Kavavur calls that Bishar Maimari Rashbi Bibir al Maimer Idra. That's next. Umisham Olamata Heim Kaklipa. So once you get to the end of the of Olam Asiya, I guess he's talking about the Asiya B'tzilus. That's when you start to pick up Nikra Elokim Mecherim. I'm just thinking that that's what he means. Madregas Kedusha Heim Ad Sofa Asiya. So Kedusha, which would be in this case would be Atzilus. Heim Ad Sofa Asiya. Mishama Lamata Heim Klipos, and from that position onwards you start picking up Klipos. Shehem Nekroim Elohim Acherim. V'kol Unikas Aklipos Min Meya Ve'esrim Serufim Elo. They all come from these 120 Serufim that we talked about. V'afal Pi Shehem Kedusha Gemura, and even though we could say that, Besod Yayin Elyon, Asher Shmarim Shehem Aklipos Ne'achazim Bo, but when you look at wine, a bottle of wine as it's distilling, you have both of them there, and they're touching. And eventually the wine on the top touches the sediment that's at the bottom. So he said, Hakali, Yonkim of the Naazim Tzirufi Shemus Elokim. Did I make a mistake here? Wait a minute. And go backwards? No, I'm okay. Okay, I'm sorry. So he's saying, where are we here? V'kol Yanigas Hakali, he may have Esrim Tzirufi Ha'elu. V'afal pi shehem kadoshim, even though that there's kedusha there, kedusha gemora. Besod yayin elya the shechach shmarim shehem aklipo ne'achazim bo. Hakali yonkim b'meya ve'esrim tzirufi shemus elokim. So those combinations, which are all elokims, and they come from kedusha really. Avacha ve'ena kavana sheyonkim b'shemus elokim atzma shehem kedusha mamish. Ve'hem besod yayin elyon. El shekal bechinas yayin yesh lucha bechinas shemos, because all the aspects of the wine also has shmarim, bechinas shmarim. V'chavakali yonkim shmarim, the kali take from the shmarim, shel shemos elokim, v'lechein nekroim Elohim acherim. So they're called by this name, al shem sheyonkim mechashmarim shel shemos elokim. He said, Yanikas Eretz Mitzrayim Upara. Let's look at that. Einim Bekol Meya Ve'esrim Tzirufi Shem Elokim. It's really not being fed. They're not feeding off of all of the 120. Rak Min Arba, only from 4 of them. Of Arba, Rak Min Arba Arboya V'Shmona Tzirufim. Tzrufi Achronim Shabo Toluyim Shalo Shabo Tuluyim B'Shnei Osius Yud Mem Min the word Elokim. So Chakanoida Ki Esrim V'Arba Tzirufim Amaschilin B'Os Aleph V'Esrim V'Arba B'Os Lamed V'Esrim V'Arba B'Os Hey V'Esrim V'Arba B'Os Yud V'Esrim V'Arba B'Os Mem. Misbar Kulum He Mea V'Esrim Tzirufim. So that's how you get to the 120. So he says like this, and how we do this? He said, Mea V'Esrim Tzirufim Sheyesh B'Shem Elokem. Let's take those 120. Are we doing here? Okay. Those 120. Hine Esrim V'Arba B'Hem. So he says 24 of them. Mehem Maschila B'Os Aleph. And he goes through them, and all of the letters that you see here on the side, he has the Mem, and he shows you that 24 come out of each one of them. Biachad, Haim, and together they make 120. Tziruf Ekamavur, Kol, Zecha Betavla, the La'el. So we had all of that. Zecha Bevacha Yanikas Mitzrayim, Paro, Hoyserak Bachat Tzirufim, the combination, Hamaschila Ba'os Yud, Ba'os Mem, Biachad, Haim, Arba B'Shmona Tzirufim. So together they're making 48. V'rak Mitzirufim Elu, Hoyelo Achiza. That's the only part that there was a chiza for Paro, and the rest. V'chatam hu keben shetzirufim elu, heim hatzirufim achronim shel hatzirufim kazeh, because they're the last combinations. That's the im part of Elokim. Now I guess we'll stop right there, try to get in a little bit of the next piece. We have very little time, and no matter what I do. Okay.